GigaMe Instructor Live Sessions. Today, we take a session on AWS EC2 basics, cost-effective instance types, and robust security policies.
Hello.
Yeah, hi Aparna. Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm good. How about you?
Good.
Okay, so today we will discuss some important things. Let me just go to the notepad first. Explain what are the things I'm going to explain today. Okay, so today, first of all, we will talk about EC2 pricing model. Okay, EC2 pricing model. So there are different pricing model available for EC2 instances. So depending on type, it has different schemes. So we'll talk about those schemes. We'll also talk about EC2 instance types. Depending on the application that you are going to post, you need to choose different instance type. These instance types are having different capabilities, different configuration. We will talk about it. Also, we will discuss about a very important feature called security policy and role. Security policies and rules. Okay, so these are the things we are going to discuss today. Let me start with the pricing model. Yeah, one more thing. In the last session, if you remember, we were trying to connect with Linux, with Ubuntu,
Yeah.
but it was not getting connected. So the problem was with the username only. In the management console itself, when we try to connect, it shows a username. So somehow I just could not check it. So we just need to put that username to log in. I'll show you. I'll show you how to connect with it. Just we have to put the username and we have to press enter, and immediately we will connect with the instance from our Putty application.
Okay.
Okay, let me start with this EC2 pricing model first. Let me share some diagram. Okay, so there are different pricing models available in this EC2 instance. So there are mainly 5 types of EC2 instances available in the AWS management portal. First, we have on demand. Then we have saving plans, reserved instances, spot instances, dedicated host. All these models are different from each other. Every category has a different pricing model. They charge you differently. They will provide you different facilities.
Okay.
Let me first discuss the on-demand instance. What is on-demand instance? So with on-demand instances, you pay for compute capacity by the hour or the second, depending on which instance you run. So in this particular model, you will be charged on the basis of number of hours you are running an instance or number of seconds you have spent for any particular instance. In this particular model, no longer term commitments are required. There is no commitment that I will run it for 2 years, for 1 year, for 6 months. There is no commitment. You will pay as you use, maybe in terms of hour or maybe in terms of seconds. Also, there is no upfront payment required. So you will pay after use, and you can increase or decrease your compute capacity depending on your on your demands of your application, and you will only pay for the specified hourly rates or for the instance you use. So here, capacity you can change as per your requirement. Let's say today you have started with 1 CPU, let's say 8 GB of RAM. Tomorrow we want to increase the capacity of your RAM, your computing power. That you can change at any moment. But the thing is, you have to pay on the basis of hour or on the basis of seconds. And this is a little costlier. This is little expensive in terms of use. If you compare with other models can provide you more benefits, but in other models, you have to provide commitment. You have to give some commitments like you have to use for 1 year or 2 year or 6 months. You have to go with longer term commitments. Then obviously you will be saving more, will save more. But in this model, you will pay as you use, either in hour or in the second. This is our on-demand instance. I'll show you where this option you will get in the AWS console. I'll show you. This is one of the important module, one of the important you can say pricing model. Now, when you should use or when you should consider this model. So on-demand instances are very, very useful in certain cases. Suppose users that prefer the low cost and flexibility of Amazon EC2 without any upfront payment or long-term commitment. In that case, you should go for on-demand instance. Or let's say you need a short-term application. Let's say you have an application, you want to deploy it for testing purpose, or maybe you want to try that application in the prod environment for maybe a few days. So for application with short-term, spiky, or unpredictable workloads, it is benefited, it is suitable. So workloads cannot be interrupted. You will get uptime, 100% uptime, and it is for short-term. If you are planning for a short-term deployment for testing purpose or maybe for demo purpose, you should consider on-demand instance. Or maybe you have developed an application, you are testing it on the EC2 instance for the first time. But in that scenario also, you can consider on-demand instance. These are some of the use cases of on-demand instances. Whenever you have long-term application deployment process, or maybe you know for long term you are taking this service, you should not consider on-demand because it will cost you higher. Okay, now let's talk about the next plan, that is saving plan. So saving plan is a flexible pricing model that provides saving up to 72% on your AWS computed usage. This pricing model offers lower prices on EC2 instances, regardless of instance, family, size, operating system, tenancy, and AWS region, and also applies to AWS Fargate and AWS Lambda usage. So in this particular model, you are going to save up to 72%. So savings will be higher, but you have to go with long-term commitment. You have to go for 1 to 3 years terms. Then only you can get the saving plan. And it is also applicable for AWS Fargate and AWS Lambda usage, which we will discuss later on. It doesn't matter what kind of configuration you need, what type of EC2 instance you need. You are going to get lots of saving. You are going to get lots of offer for the saving plan. Saving plans offer significant saving over on demand, just like EC2 reserved instance in exchange for a commitment to use a specific amount of compute power, measuring in terms of dollar per hour for a 1 or 3 year period. This is the commitment that you have to make before adopting the saving plan. You can sign up for saving plan for 1 to 3 hour terms and easily manage your plans by taking advantage of the recommendations, performance reporting, and budget alert in the AWS Cost Explorer. So this is one of the economical plan that is available. But in this plan, you have to go with long-term plan, like 1 to 3 years, minimum 1 year, maximum 3 years.
Yeah.
Let me go to the next pricing model. Then there is a category, a pricing model category called reserved instances. Reserved instances provide you with a significant discount up to 75% compared to on-demand instance pricing. In addition, when reserved instances are assigned to a specific availability zone, they provide a capacity reservation, giving you additional confidence in your ability to launch instances when you need them. So here, there is a term called capacity reservation. You can reserve a particular capacity. Let's say you need 3 instances, or let's say you need 10 instances with a certain configuration that you can reserve. So if you reserve it, other people won't be able to use it. It will be reserved for your purpose only, for your application purpose only. But in other categories, what happens? If you are not using the capacity, maybe possible Amazon will give that capacity to some other user who needs that capacity. Maybe it will be given to someone else. So in other pricing model, you do not have a capacity reservation. Tomorrow, if you need more capacity, that is not going to happen with saving mode, but on demand instance, or maybe not possible with other models. But in this, you have capacity reservation. So let's say in a data center, let's say the capacity is almost full. Okay, the capacity is almost full. All the users have got their instances ready and everything. Now you need some additional instances. If the capacity of that data center is full, you will not get the instances if you have on-demand instance model or any other model. But in reserve instance, if you specify your capacity and if it is reserved already, then no one will be able to get that capacity even though you are not using it. Let's say you are using only 2 instances, you are not using the remaining instances. But since you have opted for reserved instances, your reservation will be maintained, even though you are not using it fully. So that kind of advantage you will have with reserved instances. As I mentioned, it is similar to saving plan. The only thing is, in saving plan you do not have a reserved instance option, but here you have a reserved instance option. That means you can specify your reservation capacity. Maybe 10 instances, 20 instances, 30 instances that you can reserve. Maybe you are using 5 or 10 today. Tomorrow might you need some more, but it will be reserved. For applications that have steady state or predictable usage, reserved instance can provide significant saving compared to using on-demand instances. Reserved instances are recommended for application with steady state usage, application that may require reserved capacity, customer that can commit to using EC2 over a 1 or 3 year term to reduce their total computing cost. So these are the different characteristics of reserved instances. It is also a kind of saving plan. The only difference is it comes with a capacity reservation facility. Then we have another pricing model that is called spot instances.
Okay.
So what is spot instances? Amazon EC2 spot instances let you take advantages of unused EC2 capacity in the AWS cloud. Now, what does it mean? It means that suppose you are using only some of the EC2 capacity, you are not fully using it, and some of the instances are available. Okay, so you are using some instances are available in the data center. So what AWS is going to do, they are going to conduct a bid on that EC2 capacity. They will give some capacity and they will ask user to bid for that capacity. So whoever user will bid higher, that instances will be provided to that user particularly. So in this particular scheme, bidding happens. That means unused EC2 capacity are put on bid. People will bid for the EC2 instance, and the higher bid will get the instances. In this kind of instances, which are unused, you can avail up to 90% of discount. So these are going to give you heavy savings. But as I mentioned, bidding will happen. Bidding will happen. AWS will arrange the bidding, and based on the price, it will be given to a particular user or a particular organization. But you can get up to 90% discount compared to on-demand prices. You can use spot instances for various stateless, fault-tolerant, or flexible applications such as big data, containerized workloads, CI/CD pipelines, web servers, high-performance computing, and other test and development workloads. These are some of the use cases of spot instances. For example, big data kind of application, containerization, CI/CD pipeline-based application. This kind of application you can consider in spot instance. Then there is one more important model that is called dedicated host. Dedicated host. So Amazon EC2 dedicated host allows you to use your eligible software licenses from vendors such as Microsoft and Oracle on Amazon EC2, so that you get the flexibility and cost effectiveness of using your own licenses, but with the resiliency, simplicity, and elasticity of AWS. So dedicated host means you are basically taking the entire, let's say, a certain part of the data center for your application. Maybe you need a kind of data center actually. So for all the different requirements, you will use the majority of the data centers. In such cases, you can consider dedicated host. And what is the advantage it is going to provide you? It's going to allow licenses from vendors. You can get the licenses from Microsoft or Oracle to run different softwares on those EC2 instances. So that is the flexibility that you will get. Obviously, you will get you will be more cost effectiveness when you use the dedicated host. And in this particular case, you can purchase on demand hourly. It will allow you to purchase on demand hourly basis. Can be purchased as reservation for up to 70% off on demand prices of the on demand prices. So both the options are available. You can go for on demand on hourly basis, or you can go for reservation, and it will give you up to 70% off on the demand price, on demand price.
Okay.
So this is dedicated host. When you basically plan to, resiliency and simplicity as well as elasticity of AWS, and you want to host your application on the physical server fully dedicated to your use, you should consider dedicated host. These are the 5 different pricing models available in Amazon AWS service. All these options are available under EC2 instance option. When you click on EC2 instance, automatically these options will be available. But in the free account, you cannot create this. You have to pay for it. Then you can avail the service. I'll show you these options where you can get all these options.
Yeah, sure.
There is one more thing, that is instance types. Instance types. There are different type of instance types available, and depending on your need, you can use any of the instance types. So depending on the requirement, the instance types are categorized into 5 different types: general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, and accelerated computing. Now, in general purpose also, we have certain types. We have A1, M6G, T4G, M5, T3, T3A, T2, M4,
What are
M510.
these?
These are instance types. Every instance type has a certain configuration.
Okay.
Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you the configuration as well as these general types instances. So when you go to create an instance, it will ask you what type of instance do you want for your application. Do you want to go for general purpose, or do you need
Compute,
memory
and
optimized or storage optimized? Depending on your need, you have to choose. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you choose a particular category, then also you have higher or bigger category also. Let's say you need accelerated computing. Under that also you have many types. Depending on your configuration requirement, you can choose any of this.
Okay.
And the best part is when you select an instance, it will show you what kind of RAM you are going to get, what kind of CPU you are going to get, what will be the hard disk capacity. Everything will be given. Even it will show you the hard disk type, whether it is going to use HDD or SDD or magnetic type. Everything will be given so that you can choose as per your use case, as per your requirement. Okay. Now let me give you some of the use cases of this instance types. Okay, so here you can see some of the instance types are given, and then the description and the mnemonic. Okay, like T stands for tiny or turbo, M stands for main, or this kind of short form you have for these instance types. So description, general purpose. So under general purpose, we have many. One of the example is T2 and M5. T2 instance and M5 instance, both are under the general purpose instance. Burstable, good for changing workloads. Let's say you are deploying an application. In that application, your workloads can change at any time. So maybe sometime you will have less workload, sometime you will have high workloads, high traffic. In such cases, you can consider T2. And T is for tiny or turbo. M5 is for balanced, good for consistent workloads. So let's say your application will have consistent workload. It is not going to become too high or too low. It will have a consistent workload. In such cases, you can go for M5. M is for main or happy medium. So if you see M5, that means you have to understand it's a general purpose instance, and you have to understand that it is for main or happy medium. That means you can consider for your application if it has a consistent workload. If you have a if you have changing workload, fluctuating workloads, you can go for T2. Then if you need compute optimized instance, so when you have a high ratio of compute to memory, you should consider compute optimized instance. C5, C stands for compute. Then you have memory optimized, for example, R4, X1E. These are examples of memory optimized. You will have highly memory optimized EC2 instances. When you need high RAM capacity, you should consider memory optimized. Good for in-memory databases. Let's say you need an in-memory database and you need high RAM for that application. So you can go for R for instance. R stands for RAM. X1E, X stands for extreme. Good for full in-memory application. If you need in-memory application, that means your application will be loaded in the memory itself, and you need a lot of memory capacity as well as the performance has to be better, then you might consider the X1E. That is for highly memory optimized application. Then we have accelerated computing. One example is P3. P3 falls under this category. It is good for graphics processing and other GPU uses. So let's say your application is, let's say, graphic intensive. It is going to consume a lot of graphics, and for that you need better GPU usage. So you can consider P3, which is for accelerated computing. Maybe let's say a high-end gaming application, maybe high-end graphics application you need to host. You can consider P3 for that. Then we have storage optimized. Some examples, H1, I3, then you have this D3, D2, this is also storage optimized. In this cases, the storage will be highly optimized. In H1, HDD backed, that means hard disk drive backed, it will be using hard disk drive. Balance of compute and memory, there will be a balance between the compute and the memory. And this H stands for HDD, hard disk drive. If you consider I3, in I3, storage optimized instances are going to use SSD backed. That means internally it will use solid storage. That means solid disk drive. That means SSD will be used. It is also it has a balance of compute and memory. I stands for IOPS. Okay, IOPS. Then we have another storage optimized, that is D2, highest disk ratio. It will provide you highest disk ratio, and D is for dense. D is for dense. So whenever you have to create instance, first you have to understand your requirement. Depending on your requirement, you have to create these instances. Let me show you how to identify these instances and how to check the pricing model. Let me just go to the Amazon platform. So we will go to services. From the services, we will click on EC2. And here you can see we have instances. This will give you the running instances. If I click on this, it will give you the list of running instances. And the next option is instance type. From here, you will be able to see all the different instance types that AWS supports. Right now, I don't have any instances running, so this list is empty. If I click on instance types, it will give you a list of instance types. Let me show you. Yes. Now here you can see we have different type of instances. T2 Nano. There will be one virtual CPUs architecture. The architecture will be i3, 86, 64-bit. Memory will be 0.5, that is half GB. And on the right side, you can see the network performance. It is suitable for low to moderate network performance, and it will cost you 0.0062 USD per hour. On-demand window pricing. Linux pricing is different. Windows pricing is different. So here we'll get the instance type and other details. T2 Nano, as we know that T2 is general type. Then we have other types also. These are all T2 type. You can see T2 is also having many categories. T2 small, T2 medium, T2 large, T2X large, T2 2X large. And you can see the memory is increasing, architecture is changing, and also number of CPUs increasing. Also, it will show you that what kind of network performance it will provide you for moderate network, for low or moderate, up to 5 GB, up to 10 GB, and so on. So from here, you can search for any particular instance type. You can just type the tag and you will get that instance. You can see there are so many pages available. If I go to the other pages, you will see the other types of instances available. Even architecture type, you can change. You can use ARM or any other type, ARM64. M65 metal, number of CPUs, architecture. So from here, you can search for your requirement, your required EC2 type, depending on your application requirement, and then you can add it. And also you can see here, we have different types of pricing model. We have spot request, saving plans, reserved instances, dedicated host, and capacity reservation. If I click on spot request, so in case of spot instance request, you have to make the payment in advance. If I click on this, it will take me to the payment page. You can see whether you want to go with manually configure launch parameters or you want to use a launch template. There are two types available. You can select a particular launch template if already created. If already launch template is created, you can choose it. Or you can go for manual configuration of the launch parameters. Then you can select the type of instance like Microsoft Windows Server, Microsoft Windows Server 2016, 2019, all the different versions are available. You can look for this, or we can search for other AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Messaging Image. Sorry, Machine Image. Then we have to create the key value pair and we can connect with the instance. But we have to pay for it. We have to pay for it and then we can use it. It's not like that we can use it first, then we can pay. Let me go back. I'm not starting this. It is saying that keep the request valid from now for 1 year. Terminate the instances when the request expires. Then we have saving plans. So in saving plan, a flexible pricing model that offers low prices on EC2, Fargate and Lambda usage. And also saving plans allows you to easily reduce your billing by making a commitment to compute usage. For example, $10 per hour, instead of making commitments to a specific instance configuration. So here, if you click purchase saving plan, it will take you to available plans. You have to do the cost management here. You can see first we have to purchase it. Okay, we have to purchase a saving plan, then we can use it.
Right.
And then we have reserved instances. Purchase reserved instances. If you click on it, it will ask you for the details like platform, tenancy, instance type, offering class, term, payment option, upfront, partial upfront, all upfront. You can choose. If you want to go with no upfront, you don't want to pay upfront, then you can go for no upfront. If you want to partial upfront payment you want to make, then you can choose it. Or if you want to make it all upfront payment, you can do it. Once you do it, so only offering that reserved capacity. Specify the offering details. So I have not selected everything, I guess. That's why it's not getting activated. Okay. Okay, I have to go to this page, I guess. Yeah.
No. You just have to search. Click on the search.
Find a receipt. Okay.
Yeah. It might find you.
No reserved instance found. No, I think we have to go to the marketplace, I guess, maybe. We have to go to the marketplace first. And no, we have to pay it first, I guess. You have to pay it, then we can use it. Right now, it is not available.
Okay.
Even
Yeah,
we
maybe.
cannot see the card also. You can see we cannot see the card also. Maybe we
Yeah.
have to make payment first, then only we will get this option to launch the instance. Dedicated host is also one of the pricing model, but you can see configuration recording is off, and allocate dedicated host. If I click on this, it will ask you the tag name, instance family, instance type, availability zone, outpost ARN. So you can specify your region name, account, and then the outpost ID. This is optional. This is not mandatory. You can configure this outpost ARN. In this format, you have to provide the ARN. I'll discuss this sometime later. Also, we can, consider this instance auto placement, host recovery option you want to enable or not, quantity, how many instances, how many dedicated hosts do you want, and then you can click on allocate.
Right.
It will allocate the dedicated host. I'm not launching these instances because most of them are we have to make prepayment.
Paid, yeah.
And and this is a free account. That's why I'm not launching this. And then we have this capacity reservation. As I mentioned, in capacity reservation, you will always have the reserved category. That means no matter how much you are using, if tomorrow you need more capacity, you can use it. It will be reserved for you only. Other users on the same data center may not get that available reservation. Create capacity reservation. You have to specify instance type, platform, availability zone, tenancy, placement, group, total capacity, specific time, and then you can create it. So these are the different pricing models that are available, and as instance times are available in this AWS management console. Depending on the need, we can use it. I hope this is clear for you, instance types and pricing model. Any question from this instance types?
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. Let me just show you that one, that Ubuntu instance that was not getting connected. Let me show you that. After that, I will talk about the security group.
Okay.
Let me just create an instance. I'll show you how to connect using Putty. Let me go to the home page again. Yeah. I'll go for Ubuntu. Okay, let me create a new key value pair again.
So we have to choose PPK, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Let's click on create key pair.
It will be downloaded.
Yeah, key is downloaded. I'm saving it on my desktop. Okay, let's launch it. Launch the instance.
See.
Yeah, it is starting. Meanwhile, let me launch. Let me just launch the Putty Gen tool. Okay, load. Let me select the PPK. Test Ubuntu PPK. I guess this one. Yep. test Ubuntu APK. Correct. Open and let's save the key. Okay, so I have saved the key. Now let me launch the Putty application. Okay, so when we try to connect, I'll show you. When we try to connect, the console itself provides a default username.
Okay.
Yeah, I can show you here.
You can click it.
Yes. So it is launched, and let me try to connect with this instance. Connect. And you can see here, when we are trying to connect, it is providing a username by default. This is the username.
Yes.
With this
Okay.
username only, we have to log in the Putty application. So I have
Okay.
started the Putty application. Let me try to connect. SSH, authentication. And here I'm going to select the private key. It's not saved here. 1 second.
So
Certificate to use with the private key.
तो बघ तिथे बसा तो बघ त्याला तिथे वरती चढवून बघायचंय बाहेर तिथे त्याला बाहेरचं बघायचंय So I think can you can you go to command prompt?
Command prompt. Oh, directly want to connect with this one, right? That we can do. Yeah, that way also we can do from the PowerShell or using the command prompt also. I was just trying to connect to the Putty only. That's why. Yeah, you can connect with
Directly
SSH
with
also.
the
You can just open the PowerShell. You can just paste
and
this.
this okay, or otherwise you can open this or Putty application. Let me see if I have a Putty. I did download. I was trying different things other day.
Yeah, this way also we can connect. I
This
think I
way
have
works,
pasted.
right?
Sorry?
This way it works. And
Yeah,
the
yeah, right.
other way. So what Other way you are trying, like what it does?
Through putty we were talking about, right? Through putty also we can connect. There are
Okay.
either using this you can do it or using putty. It says verification. Oh, sorry.
Mm,
Yes. Are you sure you want to connect? Want to continue connecting? Yes.
no, I think you have to route it to the folder where your key is.
Right
Like
now
you are in
we are in the
C users
PowerShell.
admin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Go to
Let
C
me
drive.
let me go to the desktop.
I don't think so. Like this. Nah, that desktop.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, I think no such. Oh wow.
No, still it says permission denied.
I'm trying to
No such
find that
file.
Ubuntu key.pem file. It's trying to find that file.
Right. It is trying to find the PM file, but I think I have downloaded PPK file. So that is
Mm.
not applicable for this one. We have to download then PPK. Anyway,
Yeah.
the thing is, when you start putty, it will ask you the username. This is the username that you need to type in to log in.
Okay. I'll try
Yeah,
that too.
everything will be
We'll
same.
see.
Only one thing that you need to do, that is you need to just use this username. That is the default username.
Okay. Yeah.
Rest of the
Yeah,
things
I'll
will be
try
the
that.
same.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just discuss the security group and roles.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me a moment. I'll share a diagram to explain this. Let's understand the importance of the security group first. So what is the security group? Basically, security group is nothing but a firewall. It is nothing but a firewall, and it basically checks your incoming and your outgoing request. Okay. So let's say you have hosted an application. Let's say you have hosted an application on the EC2 instance, and it is running on the AWS platform. And let's say some user is trying to access your application. So let's say if any incoming request is coming to your server, this security group, it will act as a firewall. It will intercept every incoming and outgoing request. So if this user is using some specific port, by default, we can use port number 80 for deployment, or we can use 443 for SSL, or we can use the other port, that is 22. So only these ports are allowed. So all the incoming requests will go through the firewall. If these ports are actually used for the request, then firewall will allow that request to hit your service, And when your application is making some outgoing request, let's say your application is trying to access the internet to download something, or maybe for some other service. So obviously your application will make some request to the outside. But when this request is going outside, or this basically request is going outside, that will be monitored also. But the default setting allows all the outgoing traffic. By default, any security group, when you create or you use the default security group, it allows all the outgoing traffic. But for the incoming traffic, only these ports are allowed. Port 80, 443 for HTTPS, and port number 22. These are the ports only allowed. Now, there are two ways to create the security policy. When you are launching the application, when you are launching your EC2 instance, at that point of time, you can create it, or you can create it from the security policy option. Let me just go to the portal. So here you have the option create security policy. Okay, let me show you security groups. Yes, you can see here security groups. If you click on security groups, already we have two security policies. This is the default one. You cannot delete it. The default one is given by default, and we have launched one instance, and for that instance another security group is created. But if you want to create your own security group, then you can click on create security group, and then you can specify rules. There are two types of rules. First, you have to give the security group name, description. If you have created any VPC, virtual private cloud, if you have created any VPC, then you can specify it, or you can go with the default one. Then you have to specify inbound rules and outbound rules. Inbound rules, basically the rules for incoming request. Outbound rules are nothing but the rules for outgoing request. So if you click on add rule, it will allow you to specify your type, protocol, the port range, source, and a description. Now here, most of the common settings are given. The frequently used settings or commonly used settings are already given. You can see for all TCP, for all UDP,
yes,
IPv4.
HTTP.
Yeah. So default or commonly used settings are already given. If I select, let's say, HTTPS, if I select HTTP, it will only allow port number 80.
Port 80.
Yeah. If we go for HTTPS, it will allow you port number 443. So common settings are given. You can go with the common settings, or you can specify your custom rule. For example, let's say I want to go with custom rule for this custom TCP. I can select it, and then it will show you the protocol, the port range. In the port range, you can specify what will be the port range. I will discuss about the port range also in the next session. There are different categories of port range also. So here you can specify what will be the port range, and you can also specify what will be the CIDR block. Okay, what type of request you want to allow. You want to allow everything. You want to allow only certain IPs. That you can specify here. And this way you can create multiple rules. As per your requirement, you can create multiple inbound rules. You can create outbound rule also. By default, all traffics are allowed for outbound rules. You can see all traffic, protocol all, range all. But if you need some custom, let's say, setting for your application, you can change it from here. Once you create this security group, now next time when you will create the EC2 instance, you can specify this security group for your instance. Okay.
Yes.
So you will give the rules here, you will create it. And now when you create any instance, not only instance, if you create any other service, you will be able to give this security policy. You will be able to give this policy on that service. This is the significance of the security group. In the next session, I will discuss a little more on this topic. What are the different port range, what are the different allowed port, how to create some custom security roles also. That I'll discuss in the next session. So I hope you are clear till this point.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's wind up the session for today. And in the next session, we will we'll complete this security group, and we will also talk about S3 service.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for watching. Want to stay updated and learn more? Follow us on social media.